Gold is happening. Okay, so Alex, thank you so much for joining me in this conversation. We are pretty much peers in the space, and I would love to get your feedback. We've been talking this whole year, I guess, like about business and kind of like co-creating with each other. So I wanted to pick your brain on your journey, and hopefully this is gonna get give people a little bit more of an overview from someone that just gave those first steps. What went into it? How do we start from zero, or from what we know, and start getting traction? Because it seems like a really recurrent theme with my people. So first, welcome, and tell me and the people watching what you do, what's your business about, and who do you help the most.
Sure. Thank you. You're one of my favorite business people to talk to. So it's going to be an enjoyable conversation. So I am Alex Whitehead. I'm the founder of the Practice Activator, and I help online therapists to grow their online practice so that they can actually retire one day, but get back loads of time each and every week. Usually it's about 17 hours back by serving full fee paying clients.
I like the precision. 17 is much better, is a much better offer already than it is, get some time back, or, like sit by the beach and do nothing, right? Like there's something in between there. And I love, like, you quantified 17 is the sweet spot for your people. Like,
yeah, I literally calculated it down to the, and that, that equals 3 months they get back per year. It's seriously mind blowing.
That's a lot of time. All right. So we were just talking before we started. We were talking about, I'm just going to jump right in. So earlier this year, we talked about, not getting traction, or, having so many ideas. And I really wanted to catch your brain now, after you've moved through those early stages, and see what was the best advice, or like what was what made you move from like stuck and not getting any traction to like, now I get to work with my business and like knowing and controlling and moving forward, or giving those first steps in your business.
Yeah, so the first thing I noticed is I was actually developing a different offer to what I have now. And it was a lower barrier offer, around the $197 mark. And as I was going through the process and I put it out into the world and I was making some sales, I was like, why am I doing this? Like, why did I do all of this work for a $197 offer when I believe that exactly the same amount of work needs to go into the $2,000 offer? And then I did this self-reflection, and I realized that I was just playing it small because I was scared. So that was step one, is realization that I have the dream. I know what the dream is. Go for it. Just go for the dream. I don't have to sort of, play it small down here when I could be getting like at least a good result playing it up here.
That's important to say too. Like, you had that $2,000 program already done, right?
Yep.
But like, I remember you were like, just getting busy with a lot of different smaller things, right? Like trying to make this a gigantic business before really honing in. So like, tell me about that experience. If I remember correctly, you were getting some good exposure with, guest training. Mm-hmm. And then you decide, like, how did you decide to capitalize, let's put it like, monetize what you had in that specific moment?
Oh, you have a good memory. You're right. That's exactly how it went. So I started with the guest training for some therapist directories, and it was kind of leading up to me doing this webinar presentation for this group of therapists. And I was like, oh, I better put some sort of offer on the back end. Mm-hmm. And the offer was going to be like a $17 offer. And I remember having a conversation with you, and you're like, what are you doing? You're going to do all this work for a $17 offer. I'm like, and you asked me the question, like, are you scared? Are you scared about that, putting your big offer out there? And at the time, I'm like, no, I'm not scared. Yeah, I thought about it later. I'm like, actually, I think I am scared, and I'm really avoiding, selling this big offer, which is crazy because that is the most transformational product, not the smaller offers, of course. And so, actually, it was with your advice that I did this webinar. I basically ran a small email sequence to the registrants, helping them to get a result as for that webinar. And then I actually put them straight into a sales email sequence. And every call to action in those emails was the same. Go to the sales page, just written in a variety of ways. So in terms of them being sales emails, it was really just a link to the sales page. But I made sales, and I made sales to the big program. And not only that, they are aligned clients. So they are like universally aligned people coming into my world because of the process. And also probably because I chose to get brave and have the self-belief that it's possible, and stop messing around with, like I can
stop getting busy with the small thing, right? Like
exactly. If you have the choice, you got to sell your, minimum $2,000 product. You're not gonna, mess around with the smaller offers if you don't have to. Like there's a time and place for those, but I was just doing myself a total disservice, as well as the therapists out there who really need the big program.
Yeah, no, and there's so much goodness in what you're saying. Like I want to unpack that a little bit, because it's so easy to overlook the low-hanging fruit when you are in this mindset of like, nothing in my business works, I can't get traction, my launches are not, like, I don't make any money, like I spend so much time. It's so easy to get trapped, right, in this mindset, and then just get busy and afraid of like failing again, I guess, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Is that like what you thought, between like offering the 2,000 versus kind of putting a $17, seeing if anybody, do you see that happening?
I think that you're on the money, because, prior to all of this, even if I go back a year ago, I certainly have had some launches for that big program that just bombed. They were awful. And I lost money, using ads or whatnot. And so they probably, for sure, not probably, was that hesitation. And so by starting with, the 97, 197, $17 offer, it's always like there's this process that sometimes we just need to go through. There's a lesson to be learned, and you just keep getting this lesson. And then one day you have this aha moment and you're like, oh, okay, I've learned the lesson now. And that lesson is, okay, great, I'm making money. People are saying yes to these smaller offers. I'm like, but wait, I am putting so many resources into these offers. It's time to now put those resources into the big offer, and keep, my eye on the prize. Really.
Absolutely. And I'm a big advocate for smaller offers, but I feel like there is a place and a deep purpose that we have to focus on, right? Like if someone like you that is a professional, is an expert, has done this, for so many people offline, and already have this big offer that offers a big transformation, why not invest the time on like creating the sales process, or like the actual process to sell that thing, and not spin off into a million things, right? So
Absolutely.
like the other thing that we were talking, you're just mentioning, and never occurred to me, it's like, it's so true. We need to create a process to sell, so we can, improve, review, get some data on it, right? Like become a master of one sales process or one sales mechanism. So elaborate a little bit more, and like from that first step, that first sale, that aha moment of like, okay, let me just focus on the big thing, because this is what I do. This is like my light to my people. From that point on, like, what have you been doing with your sales process, and like creating and magnifying that process?
Yeah, sure. So, and to, backtrack a second there, that offer, that smaller offer, that I think it was $97 I was advertising it for. The reason why I decided to not continue with that, so I was making sales, but I realized there was a sort of misalignment between that offer and the program. They're not fully misaligned, but I felt like it was going to be hard to get people to say yes to this and then say yes to this. So I'm like, you know what? Let's skip this step, focus on this, build one bridge, focus my efforts and my energy, and just kind of go crazy a little bit on the data. Like data always tells a story. So with that, I realized, as a result of doing those webinars for the therapy directories, that I had something. So people were purchasing off of those. So it was an educational webinar, not a sales webinar. So that's like a big thumbs up for me. Like I will do an educational webinar if I can over a sales webinar any day.
Yeah, any day.
And then it was just like this really kind of, it was in my mind, I'm like, it shouldn't be this easy. It should be harder than this. Like, why is this working? I'm like, you know what, let's just roll with it. So then I put some, what did I do next? I think I put some ad money behind it, Roberta. and launched to a cold audience using Facebook and Instagram ads. And I ran a test to see, can I convert people using the same process? Like, does it work? Yes or no? And it did.
This is like music to my ears, because it's exactly like how you go, from what you already have, low hanging fruit, then to like expand a little bit more, right? Instead of putting thousands of dollars into like putting it out there, you're like, no, let me try this. Like, let's go a little bit further. And what else?
What else? Well, so what happened next? So I had all these new leads coming in.
From the webinars, from the educational webinars.
So from ads to the educational webinar, then through the small email sequence to make sure they got a result from that webinar, then straight into the sales email sequence, driving them to the sales page. And then I started to notice that buyers, my new clients, were taking specific actions. So everybody clicked on the demo video, which was like email number 4, like check out inside of the program. And then I could see that people were clicking on the link that said, DM me on Instagram.
I love this. Is my favorite strategy right now.
Yeah. So it's like, click through to the Instagram, DM me, or click through to my Calendly and let's have a chat about, I'm going to walk you through the program. And one person did DM me, 2 people DM'd me, and I was able to make the sale like that. It was like a really soft touch point. Essentially, they just wanted to be like, hey, is this for me?
Are you a real person? Yes. You're like, are you really going to be around?
Exactly. They wanted to purchase. They wanted to invest. They just wanted someone to say, yes, I believe you're making the right decision. Someone even went back through and looked at all of my old Instagram videos. She told me like, oh, I heard about your origin story and it's amazing. And I'm like, immediately looking up this video, like, how long ago did I do this? What did I say? But that's just them developing by themselves. There's no like and trust factors. And then when some people clicked on the Calendly link, but didn't book in for whatever reason, of course I get a notification about that. I contacted them over email, my personal email, not using my email management software, and just said, hey, personal email from me. I noticed you're interested in the program. Would you like to have a chat? That was it. And the people that got back to me were the ones who invested in the program.
Oh my goodness, Alex.
Again, just that soft touch.
So many layers of simple and effective things, right? Like, it's simple, always sell. Like, I'm such a strong believer that the more barriers you put for people to buy, it's a disservice, no matter the level. Like, there is a balance, obviously, of giving results, like you're giving with your webinar. Like, I'm giving you results, I'm focusing on the results. But then when it's sales time, like, hop on the phone, get on the GM. It's so simple and so effective, right?
Yes. And it's so important to keep an eye on the data. Like, if I wasn't aware that people were clicking on those links, I would never have reached out and I wouldn't have made those sales. Like, those people, some might have invested, others might still be on the fence.
Yeah, no, this is an excellent point. Is like, even having small data, right? Like, that's another point I see all the time too, is people looking at just the big data, right? Like, cost per lead, or like, how many people I have on my email list. And I'm like, the micro data that you can get from having 10, 20 people go through your super simple funnel, and like, just looking, what are they more interested in? What is the piece of like message that's really connecting with them more? It's so valuable. And in your case, I mean, that's a $2,000 investment, and probably a referral to another $2,000. Like, that's how you grow, right?
Absolutely. And what's cool is, as soon as somebody enrolls, I immediately get them to book an initial one-on-one conversation. And there's two reasons to do that. The first one is to make them feel really welcome as part of the onboarding experience, and for me to understand where they're at. But the other part is I'm asking them the question, like, why did you buy? What was mean ego brain saying to you as reasons not to buy?
Yeah.
and of course, whatever they come up with, that becomes a new bonus in the program.
I 110%. Like, when they come, you want more of these people, right? Like, remember, I think we talked about this too, and it is another recurring theme, is like, we focus so much on the negative, right? Like, how many people unsubscribed, how many people, why you didn't buy. It's like, okay, we need to know those things, but we forget completely the moment someone buys that you want more of that person. Like, where is that person and what are they doing? And how can I get more of you? I mean, I like to know why people didn't buy, but I don't want more of that. I want more of the ones that bought, right?
Yes. Yeah. And it's amazing the feedback I get of, when people don't buy, it's usually for like a very concrete reason. Like the reason I just had like 2 days ago was this person had just joined a group practice and was locked into a contract for 3 years. And so while she's interested in opening up her own business, she's really can't right now because she's under this legal agreement. And also, I kind of laugh at first of all, I have turned unsubscribes off. So I don't see that. I don't want to, what you focus on, you attract more of. So but sometimes it still comes up in my dashboard anyway. And it's always amusing to me because you'll see unsubscribe, purchase, unsubscribe. And it's just amusing. Like it's almost to make that cash and to have the ideal people finding you have to have the people who unsubscribe as well. So you can't have one without the other.
And I think your marketing is working, right? Your message is working. If people know that this is not for me and it's not going to be for me, it's as important as it is to be making sales. Like, obviously you don't want everybody to like be so, you need to make money and have a business, but that's as important. And I think to say, and I look even further, now that I have, in my CRM, I have, where people came from, like, did they come? And I'm looking at the unsubscribes and seeing like, where are those people coming from? Because I want to do less of this, right? And obviously we always look at where people are coming from when they buy, but I'm looking at the unsubscribes as like, okay, I did a complete free mini course, which I've never done before. Like, as you probably know, I just never had like a big lead magnet. Just customers, like people come in when they buy, which makes for a very resilient list. But I had this like 500 people came through like some sort of direct freebie, like completely free. Those people are the biggest unsubscribers right now. And I'm like, you know what?
And that makes sense, doesn't it? They're just like, in terms of that funnel, like they are more top of funnel compared to someone who purchases immediately.
Yeah. And sometimes they get in and they don't even know what's happening and it's low commitment, right? Like there's a very low commitment. So I like to look at unsubscribers just to what not to do in the future.
Yeah, that's a good point. I like that strategy.
Yeah, good. All right. So tell me a little bit about how you are growing right now. Is there any like big thing that your students or that your clients are doing with the program? What's happening from now on? Like, where are you heading?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that I'm doing right now. So I realized that, our program is focused on getting people sustainable results. So what I mean by sustainable is filling up your online practice with an unlimited supply of full fee paying clients so that you can do whatever it is you want to do, like have more vacations, so you can serve more people who are in more of an underprivileged demographic without going bankrupt, right?
Yeah.
And what I realized is, so it will take people 3 months to implement that process and to start getting like results. But what I've noticed is I am also doing some one-on-one coaching with some of the new students. And in almost every coaching session, we're talking about how to get full fee paying clients immediately. So I had someone join and she was like, Alex, I just quit my kind of cushiony government job where I was getting paid well and I had this financial security and I just quit. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm starting my own, online practice, but I need to make money in 3 weeks. So like, okay.
Great. Challenge accepted.
Exactly. And so essentially what I've been doing in these coaching sessions is giving them a lighter version of the program, still following the process, but not niching as much. And what I'm getting them to do is actually go out there and do some legwork with groups that they've already got know, like, and trust factors, like they're already embedded in those groups, so that they can get their first couple of full fee paying clients straight away, like in the next sort of 2 weeks. So that kind of gives them like this boost, this kickstart, so that they have more time, they're feeling more abundant as they implement the proper process. So that's something I'm working on I'm not entirely sure yet, but it's definitely going to be embedded as part of the program. Like if you need to get clients fast, this is your first step. And I think I could probably also sell that as a standalone program with the upsell into the actual program. So
I love as a time bonus.
Yeah. Limited time, did you say?
A timed bonus. Like if you buy in the first, like, in your funnel and say, time bonus, like first, you know, if you buy today, you get this whole system and you start working on making your money. Like that's real urgency, because it has the, like, they is a double urgency, is an urgency to invest because it's going to go away, but also everybody has that urgency to start making money. Like, and literally they can finish, like if they buy today, they can by the end of your sales process, your funnel, like they can be actually like halfway making money, you know, like almost done repaying for the program, right?
Absolutely.
So,
And you know, that's, you go.
You're good. No, I love, I'm like, this is what you should try to, and obviously like when you scale and when you grow, this can absolutely be a 197 or a 297, whatever, like give people that small result fast, right? But you know, until but again, like the downside of it is that it is a full new like sales process, right? We talked about this like
Yes.
before too. It's like when we take our eye out of one process, it starts to taper down, right? And then your eyes are like new sales page, new sales process for a 197. So like I feel we are not coached at that enough about that transition. When is the right time to move, to take our eyes from this one thing, you know, into the next one? And I see a lot of, then we start getting like more complicated and more complicated, and then our resources, and then we have to stop, and it's like, okay, now I have 2 programs, 2 funnels. I need a copywriter, and then I need, you know, a VA, because I can no longer promote two programs, right? Like by myself. I'm the queen of that, but I feel like everybody does it, and we're not coached enough to say, you know what, this is an excellent idea. Can you use to sell more of what you are, like, can you boost what you're already doing instead of taking resources out of what you're already doing and putting in this new thing, right? And again, like if this is absolutely, like, you think this new thing might be your next big thing, go all in. But there is this internal discussion on like, do I have the resources to grow? Or like this one it's going, got a little bit of momentum, it's a little bit easier, but do I have the resources to like start something completely new and still push forward on that?
Yeah, that's a really good point. And, you know, I think you can't take the entrepreneur out of the business owner. It's like, I know this, you know this. It doesn't stop us from, you know, dreaming up of all of these
Still
things
opening up a million things.
I think the dream for my business really is just to be the creator. You know, eventually someone else can just do all the marketing and all the things. I just want to create.
I just want to sit here and like talk to clients, do good coaching calls, and create. I love that. Yeah. That's the dream. It should be the dream. Like forget $1 million. Like the dream is to just sit back and create, right?
That's it. And it's so true. I mean, the real reason for having that as part of the program is to alleviate the anxiety around being in business. And sometimes when you think about that process, you're always exchanging time or money. Like it's always the case. But for some people in the early days, sometimes you just need to make money and you're happy to do the legwork to feel secure, regardless of what the logical outcome really is.
No, like I love that, because I think it's in every industry. It's not just, you know, your people or anybody. Like I see it all the time when I have higher ticket programs like now, that for the most part, and that's why I wanted to talk to you as well. I'm like, here is one great example of what to do if you're struggling to get traction and you need to make that the next $1,000, the next $2,000. Like that's more important than creating a massive launch 6 months down the road, because you're going to run out of money, right? When you cash out, your business is gone.
And I'm much rather
launching.
But that's it. I mean, that's a real reason why I'm doing these, like I would call them micro launches. Like there's still a really juicy offer, but it means that I get immediate feedback on how am I going? Like, are people investing in this program or not? Because there's no way I want to find that out, you know, 6 months from now during a launch where I'm dumping money into ads and hoping for the best. Like, no, I want some data that tells me it's looking good. It's safe for you to put money into ads and you will likely get a healthy return.
And on top of that, and micro launch is another big thing like that I love, is because honestly, the industry, like digital businesses, digital courses, programs, whatever, like marketing in general, is changing so often and so quickly, right? That from someone starting from zero and planning this 6 months process, right? And without any information, even if you have the perfect strategy today, nothing guarantees it's going to work in 6 months, not because it's not the right strategy, not because your program is not good. It's just because people are changing so much, right? Like, and the industry is changing so much so rapidly. So I 100% like 2-3 months. And that's another like reason for the sprint that I'm putting together. I'm like 2 months to open a funnel, because if you're doing 6 months, your information is no good. You're going to have to start a month ahead in the future anyways, right? So like doing it every month, you get that knowledge every month. So I love that you're like, I'm doing this like all the time.
Well, it's so true. Like, to reiterate on what you just said, it's like you're always checking that. Like, first of all, is your niche correct? Is your offer correct? And how about the messaging? But the messaging is dynamic. Like, what I'm hearing from people now is different to what people were telling me even 3 months ago. And, if you think about the environment in large, people are a little bit more on edge. And so now I'm getting these people saying, I want to make money immediately. I don't have 3 months to implement a process. Give me money now. Versus 3 months ago, that's not what I was hearing. People were like, yes, this sounds fantastic. I'm happy to put my effort into implementing this process so I can have a sustainable business. People still want that, but they want this immediate, this immediate cash injection too.
That is so good. It is also like, I noticed that as well for evergreen. Like at the beginning of the year, nobody knew what evergreen was. Now people are like, okay, how do I fix a funnel? Like, how the ads are working now, what sort of offer. I'm like, okay, everybody like really grew into this, this space. And yes, definitely there is a lot more tension in the air, about, getting the return or seeing like investing in something that is guaranteed. I'm going to link in the bottom, like 2 things. I'm going to link below your amazing webinar, because I think anybody could really, and we're going to talk about this in a second, but I'm also going to link the 2 blog posts I have, the 2 newsletters that I have about micro launching, and also about making indispensable offers. Because what I've been noticing is that people just are not so attached to the dream. They want to know that they're going to, like, it's something that they absolutely need. That's what they're buying right now, more so than like, oh, that's a good to have. And that's like, you don't need to change what you do, because obviously what you do has a need and a purpose and like help people, but your marketing needs to be a little bit more like, that's why I love your as a time bonus, like start making money this week, like, get off the fence, come in. We're going to do this long process, but start now, make that money now. Because it's just a way to shift your message. You're doing the same thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You're not changing anything in your process. You're still serving the same people, but you're giving them that like, this is a much better offer than anybody else that's not thinking about my problems right now, like not addressing it right now.
And I think that, I'm guilty of this, of giving people what they need. Like, I know this is what they need. They need a sustainable business so that they can retire one day. That's what they need. But it's also about balancing that with what they want. And, I look at it from a logical perspective and go, it's not that time efficient to go out there and sort of do this legwork, like literally pounding the pavement to get this cash injection. But that is what people are telling me they want. I know how to do it. I have done it myself. I'm coaching people on how to do it. All of the data is saying this thing needs to be created, Alex.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how sometimes my own ego can be like, but that's not sustainable. No, of course not. But, in the very short term, for some people, it makes a lot of sense to go ahead and do it. So there's this balance between giving people what they want as well as sneaking in what they need.
I love that. It's 100%. And like, when we think about our beginning as well, so many things that we do, right, or did in the past were things that weren't sustainable, right? And it's my favorite way to get a quick cash injection is like, do something that is not sustainable, right?
Yes.
Like, go one-on-one coaching, do something like create a service, do something for someone that, yes, you cannot scale to 1 million. We get it, but that's not the purpose, right?
Yeah.
And very often, and I see in your, like in your journey and in everybody's journey as well, like you build upon that. Like, you're hustling in the first 2K, or like that gives you a step forward to the next big question. And that's how you really grow nowadays, I guess, like, in 2023 and beyond. I think we are much more strategic about the next step
Yes.
to grow than it is to find a magic formula and implement it perfectly in 6 months to a year.
Yeah, I agree. And it's, one of the offers I have right now is really like lucrative. A couple of people signed up for like a whole stack of one-to-one coaching with me, as well as the program for, a very affordable rate. But that wasn't, while I would love to charge what I'm worth for that, that wasn't the point of running that test. It was just, does this work? And how do I make my offer so irresistible that it's a no-brainer for people to join me and sign up? I just want to test, is this going to work?
Like, you're a pro now. It's testing every week.
Oh yes, I'm channeling my inner Roberta.
I wish you're exceeding like all expectations. Alex, tell me about your webinar, your training webinar, and like who exactly would get the most out of it.
Yeah. Okay. So the webinar is for online therapists, or for people who want to transition to online or hybrid work. It doesn't mean you can't see people in an office, but predominantly everything I do has got to do with online practice and online clients. And it's for online therapists who want to really grow their online practice and make at least $200 per hour, and also have package options, which are normally around $2,000 to $3,000. And this is so that they can have a really profitable business, so that they can take more than 3 weeks of vacation per year. We all need to upgrade our vacation mindset. If one more person tells me that they're aspiring to 3 weeks vacation, I might just cry. Like, we can at least double that for you.
Yeah.
And it's also about them connecting with, like, there's no other way for me to say this, but connecting with universally aligned clients. So really connecting with the right people where it's a joy to work in your business and on your business.
Yes.
And that's really who we're for. And inside of that webinar, you're going to be uncovering the process on what you actually need to do to attract these full fee paying clients, like predictably, consistently, in a way that allows you to sleep at night. But also I'm going to be deep diving into the foundational step of that process. If you don't have that step like 100% correct, it's really hard to have a profitable online business. So we're covering that off in the webinar as well.
Oh, teaser. Yes.
I know, right?
I love it. I'm like, can I watch it as well? Because I'm going to link below, because I think it's magical what you're doing. And anything else you want to add? Because I think I got more than I was bargaining for. Like, this has been amazing to chat back and like revisit everything that you are doing. And, I unfortunately can't be part of like every single moment, but it's good to catch up. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I think, in summary, I feel like everybody needs to follow a process no matter where they're at in their journey. They need to follow a process. You also need to deeply understand what it is you want. Like, you need to be able to imagine your desired future. And then it's about just breaking that down into smaller steps. So on your path to get to that desired future, like, what is goal number 1? And maybe that's earning $1,000 a month. Goal number 2 might be $5,000 a month. Goal 3 might be $10,000 a month. And just like breaking it down so you don't feel so overwhelmed. Because sometimes I look at my big dream and it is overwhelming. I'm like, oh, my dream's over here and I'm all the way over here. I'm like, but wait, I forget that I'm on this pathway and I started here. I'm now over here. The dream is getting closer. But it's like, what is my next like benchmark? What is the next gate that I want to pass through so that I feel good? And then each time you pass through that gate, it's about having a celebration. Like, wow, I really am on my way to this dream. And look at how far I've come. So I think it's like, we're all entrepreneurial and we forget that like none of us are stuck in the past, but sometimes it's a good idea to just reflect on how far we've come and how far we've had to personally evolve. Yeah. And I think by following that process, it really helps you reflect on how far you've come, but you also know the steps you need to take to keep on reaching for that dream. Yeah.
All right. That's another conversation out. Yes. I think you're already teasing a second conversation, because so many things pop up for me. I'm like, right now I'm working with a lot of boundaries for myself, like just putting those boundaries, like we just talked, like, do not move from this offer until he reaches a certain point.
Yes. I think that's why I DM you. I'm like, I need Roberta to say no.
Oh my goodness. I should charge for as a service, because I have so many people. There's like, I know what you're going to say. And this is exactly why I am like texting.
Exactly.
I'm the
I know
bad
what she's going to
cop,
say.
the bad cop of business.
That's it. It's $1,000 a no.
That's a no. No, I'm going to like auto like reply like, no. Alex, thank you so very much. It was so awesome to talk to you again. See your pretty face. And like, I think this conversation is phenomenal for so many people that are out there, like trying to get traction and not understanding or not seeing the power in like starting where you are with what you have and just giving that one step forward. So thank you so very much for sharing so openly and you know, like sharing your magic and all you've done this year. So brilliant. And I can't wait for our next chat all about manifestation. Maybe let's do a like a more mindset.
Absolutely. Thank you. This has been a joy.
All right. Thank you.